Yeah, welcome. It's been 10 months.
10,000 years, you mean?
Yeah. In High Republic time, we're in the new age, but yeah. So this is episode 20.
Episode 20. Happy very belated New Year.
Yeah. So it's March. It's the March of 2021.
The Ides of March today.
Yeah. So hopefully we will do way more in 20. We can't do really that much less than we did in 2020. Well, I shouldn't say that.
We set ourselves a really, really low bar to beat.
Yeah. So if you're still listening, this is CaridaCast. We're just two people that dress as stormtroopers talking about Star Wars. And
I'm Colin, and that's Mike.
And I'm Mike. Yeah, I'm Mike, and that's Colin. And we normally talk about costumes, but I don't know if I did have a costume idea for today's show, and then before we started recording, we got sidetracked. Do you want to hear my costume idea?
Sure. What is your costume idea?
So I was thinking,
won't fit me anymore. But
no. This is like a broad costume. I was thinking of like broad to make our show to bring us back to our roots of talking costumes and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I was wondering, like, if we take a show or a movie theme one episode, especially now that we have The Mandalorian, we could take an episode and you and I could make a list of what costumes we would, if we could make and discuss the different costumes we see. Or because I know, for me, I started looking at like perfect examples when Bo-Katan and them showed up in The Mandalorian. Spoiler if you haven't seen season 2 of The Mandalorian like a year ago.
You're way behind if you haven't.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't watched that, then I really have no clue how you found us. But when that show, I was looking like, okay, I was looking at the soft goods because that's the things I hate the most. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at the stitching of those 3 Mando suits because I was like, is there one that has no extra stitching that I could just get away with a black jumpsuit?
Right.
And unfortunately,
that's the hard part because now they're, in the age of high def, they're not just taking old kind of like scrappy military gear and refurbishing them as costumes, throwing some like gluing greeblies on. Now they're specifically sewing designs for characters, and it's those of us who are such as myself who cannot handle a sewing machine no matter how hard they try.
I know.
It's worthless to us.
And those Mandos, they were like my ones. Okay, I was like, I'll start at this episode and then I was like looking at the Mandos and like even the helmet, even Bo-Katan's helmet is different than the animated Bo-Katan helmet. It's just slightly different. I know the paint scheme's different, but the actual shape of the helmet's different.
Yeah, it's got like a ridge that kind of flattens out the face, whereas animated, isn't it a little bit more like round the straight hole?
Yeah, and then the pistols were I was like, okay, well then maybe the pistols would be like Sabine's, so then I don't have. Nope, the pistols were 100% different.
They're more detailed. I think they're a little bigger than they were animated. They're bigger. No,
they're slightly longer, but they're skinnier.
That's right.
And they're not the same. They're not the same type blaster as what Pre Vizsla and Sabine use. They're an actual like a different model too.
Oh.
It's they're pretty cool. I actually have 2 of them printed already. But yeah,
mine was Dark Trooper. The robot Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people have the files. They've been like test printing the helmet. And like, I would love to just have the helmet, throw some lights in the eyes to have those light up as a set piece. But if I could do a whole costume of a Dark Trooper, that's like, I don't care how uncomfortable that would be. I'd rock a Dark Trooper.
Yeah, I could squeeze Safi into one probably. I like the Dark Troopers too.
Just be a really fat Dark Trooper.
Well, I could have extra weapons. But. Yeah, so that was one of my ideas. I was like, we should look at some of the costumes. And then like now like the I don't know, since we've recorded, the Boba Fett helmet came out, the Black Series Boba Fett helmet.
Yeah, I saw
now have you got to see one of those up close?
I have not had a chance to see those up close. They're like have stuff going on inside too, right?
Yeah, they're nice. I mean, I would argue that I'm sure all the Boba Fett people can tell the difference, but even for me who can see different, like I can look at the Black Series TK, and I know it's a Black Series TK. Yeah. And it's not just the eyes; it's the way that undercut is. It's not as big You know, like
Yeah.
you don't have to. If you see someone sticking it on, they don't have to twist it on like you and I have to put our buckets on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can tell the difference with that. But those Boba Fett, and probably if you did a little painting on that Boba Fett helmet, you could probably easily make it look exact. It would match someone's armor. Because Marty had it.
Doubt that for a second.
Marty had it next to his Fett helmet, and I didn't see. Like, to me, if you spun me around and said pick which one, I don't think I could tell. You know.
Because I've been seeing people do repaints of the because they did the prototype one, the pure white Fett helmet. So I've been seeing people do like instant repaints. They'll get an order of like 5 or 6 of them, and they're like, "Oh, I just saw them on sale, so time to paint some new Mando helmets."
That's a nice helmet. I'm just not I'm not the white Boba Fett person, but and then
I would just be too worried about. Cause between I don't worry too much about scratching the stormtrooper up because that wasn't necessarily a huge. It was a financial investment, but it wasn't a huge as huge as a Boba Fett armor. I wouldn't trust myself in a white Boba Fett armor at a gig. Like, I can't lean on anything, can't touch anyone, gotta be constantly aware of everybody. I need to have like a pool noodle circle around me to keep people from bumping into me. I wouldn't feel comfortable in that.
Well, Howard has one.
Yeah, I've seen his. That's a good looking.
And he chased down like all the original like rivets and greeblies, and he has the original Star Wars beach towel because the cape is that like a kid's beach towel.
Really?
To have the actual cape that was on the prototype. It's a Star Wars like either beach or not a beach towel, like a regular towel that was Star Wars printed on it. Because I guess that's all they had. You know, they probably had like some merch laying around when they were putting the prototype together. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, look at the CRL and look at the towel. So anyone that's new, we usually go through the CRLs too, and we did pretty good the first couple episodes, but we should probably go through some CRLs like in the future because it seemed like people like that. What we need is we need correspondence. We need like Tyler to record us like a 5-minute clip we can throw in there, and we can say now with Tyler with the TIE Fighter news. He's a TIE pilot still, right?
Yeah.
with the hockey playing TIE Fighter news.
CRLs. Oh, that's right. The 501st website updated. Now the CRLs are all different.
Yeah. Well, if you just look prototype, just Google prototype Fett CRL, I bet you it'll come up.
BHG Boba Fett Special Edition. Oh, it's gonna be probably
no. Special Edition is the one that was in let me see.
That's A New Hope when he's standing in Jabba's.
Yeah.
Or Empire when he's standing in. No, it would be A New Hope when he's standing in Jabba's palace and does his little nod when his rangefinder is reversed because they just reversed the camera angle.
I'm looking CRL. I wonder if they don't have a CRL for 501st. Maybe it's just the.
That could be, yeah. It's BF. Oh, Blizzard Force.
Because it would be under Bounty Hunters. Bounty Hunters Guild. So.
Maybe he's under Underworld. Maybe he's not because he's prototype. They never dubbed him a bounty hunter. Yeah. No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't see. I see Heroes Special Edition, Empire Strikes Back. So he must be in Amando Mercs. Maybe that's what Howard was talking about. Like I was talking to him about CRL one time. And is it Super Soldier CRL? Boba Fett Super Soldier?
Oh, that could be.
I think it is. Here we go. Let me see. Tack, boots, chest armor, back armor, codpiece, kidney, left gauntlet, right gauntlet, jetpack, gloves, hip pouches, cape, vintage Star Wars beach towel or replica.
Oh.
It says, or white, light gray white with ESB pattern is acceptable.
I was going to say, because like obviously they're not in production anymore, so
Right.
there's a finite number of Star Wars Beach Tower merchandise.
You know someone's printing that up.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
There's probably someone, you know,
screen print the cloth.
Yeah, screen printing it off. But
that's pot. Yeah, you're right. When there's a will, there's a way. I get it.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, I mean that's the you know we should get back to the CRLs because we did the last 2 episodes we did were Shakespeare, and I did have someone email me recently and said when we were doing the next one, and I was like, well, we'll have to look because that's an endeavor.
Yeah.
Not as you know, it's funny because with the pandemic that everything, the one plus side is all of the stuff to record podcasts have become so much easier.
Yeah.
Like like I know what I started when started with Zoe. It was like a nightmare finding a way to record over the phone or over the internet, and things were spotty. And now at least the plus side is now there's so many services that you can look up and try. You know, so. But yeah, you and I have been out of contact. We've been building stuff. You said you've been building Vikings, so we just gotta get Star Wars Vikings. Maybe they'll get some Star Wars Vikings in with Hondo.
Oh, that would be cool. So that's with the whole Viking theme, as I've been like manipulating and altering this design of Mando armor that I've been and want to be working on, I've decided that to throw in a little bit of Viking flair. Instead of just one of those regular little vibro blades, I'm gonna do like Viking bearded vibro axe.
Nice.
So it'll be like one-handed. It'll have that nice beard coming down and the blade style. And it'll be good because then I can just put a little ring on my belt and slip it through there. I don't need some fancy sheath or anything like that. And
now, have you ever? You know what would look good? Have you ever? You could print yourself a big whatchamacallit skull, mythosaur skull.
Maybe.
Go with your Viking. Or mythosaur, just a horn.
Let's see. I have a nice selection of drinking horns already.
Oh, okay.
I would probably just slip one of those.
Why does that not surprise me? Who doesn't have drinking horns?
I don't know. People who haven't made prepared life decisions.
Well, the other costume that's kind of got me interested a little more because of the Mandalorian is the Tusken Raider.
Yeah, I like the varieties of Tuskens that they've had. Especially when they had all of them gathered like friends for fighting the dragon.
Right, and the sign language, because that's what Zoe was talking about. We were talking about putting together when she makes her movie when she's home from break. We were also talking about doing a Tusken encampment. Because we recently got a 360 camera. Have you ever seen a 360 camera?
Yeah, I've seen those.
So we were thinking of doing a 360 walkthrough of a Tusken camp.
Oh, that would be cool.
Just have like a tent or two set up and just have them like doing whatever Tuskens do. And then just do almost like a crocodile hunter walkthrough, with the 360. Because if you do it with the 360 camera, if you film a 10-minute spot in the camp, you can say to your audience, if you guys look behind you, you can keep talking and they can turn around in real time and look at what you're looking at. So we would have to make a 360-degree set. And the camera itself, the one I have, and I think all the 360 cameras, it makes the selfie stick invisible.
Yeah.
So it's basically like a drone is flying over your head. So.
Yeah, I don't see, there aren't any CRLs for any Mando Tuskens. It's still just... New Hope and Attack of the Clones. I guess nobody's gone out of their way to try and do a Mando style Tusken.
Well, and all you have to do is be the first one to submit some pictures to I forget the group in the CRL, and you can start writing it. They usually just want someone to write them.
Yeah.
So probably the Crate Dragon clan, probably someone's writing them as we speak. Like trying to figure out the difference and stuff. But yeah, I was looking like. If we have an armor party, and we again, like the Tusken,
a vaccines required armor party.
Yeah, vaccines required armor party, but the Tusken would be one of those ones where I 3D printed a Tusken mask, and I think I can cast it very inexpensively. and then everyone could just be like, here, here's a Tuscan mask,
and build your own Tuscan party.
But yeah, I mean, our podcast is. Hopefully we'll get back into it, and get more regular shows. I just think I am sorry for everyone that I didn't reach out to Colin and I didn't record. I was just in and out of just trying to keep myself sane and keep my kids sane, and
I was just sucked into being insane. So
yeah, well,
so I've just been insane this whole time.
But now, have you read any of the New Republic stuff?
I actually haven't looked at any of the new the High Republic stuff. Yeah. I'm still working through the backlog of the other stuff. I just finished what's it called? The Galaxy's Edge one, the first one.
Oh yeah.
Which quick review, it was all right. The first half of it was a tour of Disney's Galaxy's Edge, and I haven't been there, so I can't. It completely sucked me out. They're like going through the menu of the restaurant items, and I'm just like, nope, you lost me. You're writing a travel brochure, not a novel here. So that lost me for a bit, but I forced myself through because I've had nothing else to read at the gym. But now I'm on the second in the Alphabet Squadron trilogy.
Yeah, Zoe just finished those. She just recorded a podcast yesterday or last week, Friday, I guess,
about the third one. No spoilers.
About the third one. Yeah. Which I wasn't going to read them, but after to listen to that, like, she spoiled it for me, but it makes me want to read them because it sounds like the characters.
It sounds like that one that's kind of what got me. I didn't even realize the second one was in paperback, so that's why I'm on. Obviously, I'm waiting for the next Thrawn one to come out. I think that's the next couple of months is the next Thrawn, the second in this trilogy, but it's the fifth of the Disney Thrawn series.
Yeah, well, I listened to a few books over break, mainly because, when I was working. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm driving back to work, I'm caught up on my podcast. So, have you listened to the Afra recording?
I haven't. I keep forgetting there's a novel for her. I haven't had a chance to.
I don't know. I don't know if I can call it a novel because I read the comic books and some of it almost crisscrosses in through the comics.
Oh, really?
But it's the way it's recorded. The best way I can describe it without spoiling any of it is, remember when Lando was in the Falcon when it was all busted up and they were he was waiting for him to get his money, and he was sitting in the cockpit recording on that recorder thing.
Oh, so it's in that kind of style.
It's in that style, but then the story, it's like that's your interludes and your in betweens. Mm-hmm. Like, she'll start talking, and then the story comes alive with characters talking and all that stuff, but it's just it brings a weird sense of humor to it, and it really brings the it put a good voice on the character. Like, it is well. I listened to it because I wanted to know what 000's voice sounded like. That's I will be 100% honest. I bought it just because Safi and I are working on that. We were working on 000's voice to say what he sounds like, and he sounds like Dr. Smith from the old Lost in Space mixed with C-3PO. And is
that just because it was that person's voice trying to do C-3PO, or do you think it was more intentional to try and make it more sinister?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think he was not trying to do C-3PO. I think he was trying to do. My guess is they were trying to say, look, C-3PO is what people expect a droid to sound like. Mm-hmm. How can you make him sound like this same type of droid, but not be, and it was really good. I thought. So I don't know that there's only like 4 000s in the whole world. So I've only talked to like 2 other ones and they liked it. So that's my.
I might have to give that one a listen. I'm picky with audiobooks just because I don't have a lot. I don't like voices. I don't like just hearing people talk. It's hard for me to even edit down our podcast because I hate hearing my own voice, much less other people's. But
I think you would like this one because it's a different style. Like it took me a couple minutes because I don't mind audiobooks, but it took me a couple minutes to listen to that. It's like I said, it's like she's recording the story like a diary, but with her, she has like a different kind of attitude.
But so with the other characters, do they switch voice actors for a lot of the characters?
Yes, yes,
okay,
they do.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I listened to one recently. It was during that time period, the brief period I was driving trucks, so I'd have 14 hours a day where I could be listening to something, and I listened to Resistance Reborn. I like started reading the book, but switched over to the audiobook just so I could get through it, and the narrator did most of the voices, including, so he would switch between like Poe and then Princess Leia or General Organa at that point. But he did a really good Poe, but every time it was Leia's voice, it sounded like a dude trying to speak, talking like a sensual woman. It was like it was his only version of a female voice, was like making himself sound more sensual, and it brought me out of it every time. And if I hadn't just been trapped on a highway to have to listen to something to get me through that book, that I probably wouldn't have made it through otherwise.
Yeah, well, I think you would like the Afro book.
I'll have to give that one a shot.
And again, I don't, because it's not technically a book, because I don't think you can get it in print. Like I think it's just like an audio. I don't want to say it's an audio drama, but it's close to that. Like,
so they kind of took the path of that Dooku fallen apprentice or whatever. That I haven't actually listened to that one because I've heard mixed reviews on it.
Zoe listened to it; she liked it, but I haven't listened. I just never had enough. Dooku was never like in my top group of people that I wanted to hear more about.
May he rest in peace. If Christopher Lee was still alive to do the reading,
I
would have loved that.
Well, I listened
to some metal opera that's Dooku, but
I listened to the Ahsoka book, and Ashley Eckstein read that, and I think she did almost all the voices, but she did a good job. And then I listened to Anthony Daniels' biography, and I bought the book, I read the book, and I listened to it with him speaking, and I thought that was really good too.
That probably would have added to it.
But I thought the Afro one was
I think the Ahsoka one could have worked well from her perspective, because I read that one. I've read the Anthony Daniels one, but if I remember correctly, the Ahsoka one was pretty much from her perspective.
Yeah, that's true.
The whole time, right? So that kind of worked out that way.
Yeah. Like I said, you'll like the Afro book. I mean, I'm way behind on the comics. You would think being stuck at home all this time I would have got caught up on the comic books, but I'm so far behind in the comic books.
They like rebooted the Marvel Star Wars comics, didn't they?
Well, they stopped them and restarted them, and it was just but it was getting to the point where I needed like a second mortgage to pay for all the comic books coming out, because it's okay when you're getting 10 comic books at like $1. I sound like such an old fart, but back in the 80s, if a comic book was like $1.75, you're like, whoa, and now they're like $4 and $5, and you have to
if you get these like full like the entire chapter or whatever, where it's like 4 or 5 chapters into one, it's like $15-$20 for one of those things. Like it is not affordable to have a comic collection anymore.
Well, that's what Zoe and I went to the app. I went up doing the Marvel app, which I know is like anti-comic book, some people. But we had to just go to the app because with all the High Republic stuff coming out, it was just easier to pay, I think, like $12 a month and get any single book we need.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
I still haven't read them even with the app, so that doesn't really... I think I'm just... I think we'll find if we keep this podcast going this year. I'm just more I'm redoing everything to getting back to my 501st roots of just having big stuff. Somehow my house got invaded with pops, and I want to go back to like I'd rather have
big displays,
a blaster, and more helmets, and I want to get back to that.
I do have a lot of pops. I'm with you on that one. Not nearly as many as you, but it's a lot. It's become a lot.
Well, see, and that's we did the Smuggler's Bounty boxes, which were really cool until Amazon took them over. But
right.
that was like 2 or 3 pops every couple weeks coming in, and then if the girls both wanted one, and then doubled it, and if I wanted it, it tripled it. And then I was almost out, and they came out with that giant Baby Yoda pop.
Oh,
and they sucked me back in. I was like, oh, I can't.
I stopped myself from doing that one solely because I really don't have a place for it.
Well, that's why my basement is in disarray now, because I'm making places for all this nonsense.
I simply do not have the space for a 10-inch Baby Yoda pop, which it was between that and money being tight. Yeah, it was close. I was very close to ending up with that one.
Well, and I don't know if you've been to my house since I got 2 of the Cantina masks too.
Yeah, no kidding.
I got the blue aliens from the Cantina.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy in California, his widow was selling his collection, and I got the blue guy from the Cantina. There's a pair of them. They look like Cad Bane.
Oh yeah, I just had the race, but it lost me the second I was about to say it. I can't remember. Duros.
And then Duros. I got the guy with the 2 short horns, not the devil-looking guy, but the guy that's kind of furry all around.
Oh yeah, him.
I
don't remember what they're called.
I got those 2 masks from like an estate sale.
Nice. Which
were really nice, and the masks were a decent price, but she didn't know how to pack stuff, so the shipping cost me almost as much as the masks.
Oh.
But I still,
Bummer.
But yeah, I mean, we have. I'm trying to think of, like, we got to get back to our stormtrooper roots. Did you ever get your cod piece fixed?
No.
Okay.
I think I had it at a point last time I remember where it is solidified enough and painted over enough that it's not as noticeable. Like I used like wood putty or something to fill up and every so often if it's all scuffed up I'll have like just some color white spray paint that I'll hit it with and pray that the lighting that I'm in that day doesn't show the difference between the white of my lower half versus my top half. Like,
oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't see, I trooped, I think the last thing I trooped was, it might have been with you. It might have been the, Force Awakens at Whitaker Center.
Oh, yeah. Not Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. I think that was, I think that was my last troop. Booth.
That was what, Christmas of 2019?
Yeah, but that counted on our last census.
Yeah. My last one was it was actually into COVID. We did there was an online...
oh, yeah, I forgot they counted.
Children's Miracle... I think it was a Children's Miracle Network or...
yeah.
One of those, like a local school for children that we zoomed in with and, had messages of hope and inspiration. And of course that was the one where they didn't tell me the Carida flag behind me was the screen wasn't reversed on their end, so they took a screenshot of it and that was the cover of the news article, but it was
That's
backwards. Funny. And that was profoundly disappointing. That I wish somebody had told me.
Yeah, well, I did my I think the last time I was in armor was I did my welcome to my 6th grade students in my Sand Trooper armor.
Oh, that's right.
And then I did wear my heavy TIE bomber helmet to pick up Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh yeah.
My helmet, not the one with the skull painted on the face, but I made a heavy bomber out of one of my last recasts of my whatever you call it, animated TIE. I got my head stuck in it. I couldn't get my head out. So I put a big scratch on my nose.
I don't try wearing that one. I do have that one. It's done where I have the decals of the Empire logo decals, the skull paint on it, and an actual visor inside. But I don't wear it because the hole's too small for my head.
Well, that you can adjust that back. Well, we'll talk. You can adjust that back to make a bigger hole.
Yeah,
but,
I could. It's certainly something I could do. It's just I don't really.
But,
I have fewer outlets too. It's my best looking display piece currently.
nice.
Because unfortunately the cadet helmet that one of the cadet helmet that I finished, the one that's painted up like Ezra's, is the face mask broke around the edge where the corners of the lens. It was too skinny. I pressed on it to try and get it to conform a little better because I'm using it's a stubborn lens inside that's pressing. It presses on the face and widens it outwards, so every so often I'll give it a little squeeze to try and bring it back in, and it just snapped at those
I can
points,
make you another one. I think I got a new mold, I think, since you got it. I made a new mold of that one.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, that was just it was because of my own laziness in trying to get the lens in. I had shaved it down a little bit more than I should have because I didn't want to have to cut the lens specifically to the side. I couldn't.
Did you put it on the inside or the outside?
The inside.
Because I saw some guys put it on the outside. They trim it to fit that hole perfect, and then they sit it down it.
I tried doing that. It wasn't working out for me just because of the type of lens that I had got, and so I instead shaved away the ridge on the inside and pressed it so it looks like it's still the thickness and how far in it should be, but it's just so that thinned it out. It's user error. I don't blame the molds.
Well, but I think I redid the mold to make it better shape. But we'll talk about costuming. I'm trying to think what else we got a lot of feedback from the Shakespeare one. I don't know, I hope we get feedback from this, but I seriously think we should, if anyone wants to send us in a clip, we could have as many extra people as we need. Then maybe we can get more episodes out. Yeah,
right. Yeah, clips of you want to rant about something, or you hear something about that we're talking about that you're like, oh, here's my opinion. Just send it on by.
Yeah, we still we have to get on I should just make Zoe do the website, 'cause she took over her website and it's so much nicer. I just say, go ahead, Zoe.
Drop a couple of doll hairs her way.
Say, here, just can you do this? But but yeah, I mean, hopefully we have to bring our CRLs back. People like that. Book reviews. I'm trying to think what else people have wanted to hear about. Oh, I was in the new Star Wars Insider. They started they started the story about Zoe talking about me in Star Wars Insider 200. They did a story on our Star Wars stories.
I think I'd seen your pictures of that. I didn't realize they started that talking about you.
They said something. It was literally like a half a sentence, but I'll take it. I'm just thinking that little kid Mike in the 80s would have been super happy knowing that my name would appear somewhere in the Star Wars Insider. So
let's see. So I'm looking at. I'm curious now. I was thinking about the. I was in the back of my mind trying to think through what do the Mandalorian Tusken Raiders look like as opposed to but it kind of looks like they just followed A New Hope style. It almost looks like the wrappings are just tied up against everybody's heads. It actually doesn't look like they have masks on under there.
Yeah, it looks like they're and actually Marty just bought a new Tusken mask. He upgraded his, and it looks like his is more that style, but it looks like it's more like they can move around a little better. The faces look a little different. Like the shapes of the faces are a little more varied.
It looks like the mask part, like that nose thing, actually comes up over their nose, like they're supposed to be able to breathe through it instead of it just being in front of their mouth. Yeah. It does look like in very minimal ways the mask is designed to fit a human head instead of be a different animal. Yeah. But the ropes or the robes, the bandoliers, they all look the same.
Now I can't remember. Do they have the neck canisters on them?
Some of them did, some of them didn't.
Because it's New Hope's neck canisters. Phantom Menace is no neck canisters.
Yeah, so there's both actually.
Yeah.
So in the episode where he's, it looks like season 1 where they bumped into him in the desert and were doing the sign language to talk to each other. That one looks like it's no neck canisters. But when they're in season 2, meeting in the canyon and riding to the dragon, those do have neck canisters, or some of them do. So it just kind of looks like they did both.
That's good. I did like that they used the gaffy stick for a bantha toothbrush.
Oh, right.
You know, so that was pretty cool. And so it was pretty cool because like Tatooine to me will always be my favorite Star Wars planet. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because, you know, I saw New Hope first in the movies, but Jawas and Tuskens, you know, they were my favorite growing up. And I mean, that's why that was the first costume I made to girls, was a Jawa costume.
Mm-hmm. Not because that's what size they were.
Well, that was partially, but I would like that as soon as I trooped my first 2 troops, they didn't have any costumes. And then I was on Chris Bartlett's website because I was going to make a sand trooper, and he had this little link that took you to his Jawa page, and I was like, oh wow. So I wound up buying the robes from Chris Bartlett, the guy who plays a bunch of the droids in The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. That's where I bought my robes from.
Oh, no kidding.
And then I ran into him at Celebration Orlando at the 501st Bash. And somehow I wound up hanging out with all the protocol droids. This was way before I even had Safi's suit built. But I wound up hanging out with Dan, Chris Bartlett, and the guy who did the first 000 at the Bash for some reason. I don't know if I know it. I didn't look like I could fit in a protocol droid. But yeah, Chris did their Jawa robes for me. TK409.com. That's his website. I don't know if he's still maintained. I mean, sure he does. But now that he's a big Star Wars star.
Yeah, right.
He did the teacher droid because Zoe was going back and forth because we started working on Safi's 3PO, and we're going to start working on Zoe wants a protocol droid, so she wanted K3PO for the longest time, and then when that teacher droid came up, then she was thinking she wanted the teacher droid. And then she just told me like 2 weeks ago she wanted to go back to K3PO. She watched Empire Strikes Back and she's like, "No, I want to do K3PO." So, which is good because K3PO would be way easier to do.
Right.
Though it's funny, the K3PO, just from starting K3PO, K3PO is gold painted white. So if you look at all the toys, he's just white. But if you look at the stills, you can see it's an old C3PO suit that they painted, and they forgot to put the shoulder rings on. Oh. And so you can see the gold coming through. And that gold, because of the way it shows on film, it just looks like the white is war. But it's the gold paint coming through the white suit. Huh. And his eyes are I think he's the one whose eyes are upside down.
Well, that sounds like a pain.
Well, no, you can't tell. It's just like 3PO is 2 lights up and 1 light down. Mm-hmm. Now I know this is how, when I talk about this is probably what I sound to when you and I talk stormtroopers to people that don't know. They're like, what?
I mean, I can picture it. Yeah, he's got 3 little LED lights in his.
Yes. Yeah. 3POs are 2 up and 1 down. K3PO is 1 up and 2 down.
Oh, okay.
And Safi's 000 were in upside down because I didn't know it at the time. I was putting her 000 together the Sunday before we left for Celebration. I was just like sticking the eyes in. I was like, yeah, this looks good. And then we got there. I was like, oh, your eyes are in upside down.
And I'm sure everybody pointed that out all the time and would not let you hear the end of it. I imagine, as every Star Wars fan everywhere does.
No, I lucked out. No one did point that out. Though they did point out when I took her to Jersey, we went to surprise Jordan in Jersey in her 000, and I put her new belly wires on, and I didn't tuck them in right, so the belly wires looked short. I was like, that people did point out. You know, there's always that one guy. Do you know your belly wire? I'm like, yes, buddy. We were changing in a parking lot in January. Okay? We were
right. You did what you could.
Yeah. But yeah, that droid building, like I've gotten into the droid building since we last, you you're getting into Mando building.
Yeah, I'm still working on it.
Have you looked at Have you looked at Toga's Mando?
I've seen Toga's Mando. Is it his current
big furry one? The big furry, yeah. This the one, yeah.
With like the wolf style.
That's the other thing. Over break, we wound up buying a cricket. That was like our family birthday or Christmas present. You know, it cuts out the decals and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because I got tired of paying.
I read it as cry cut, and I don't think that's right. But everybody that I've talked to has been calling it cricket, so I guess that's when I went to buy it. They're like, how? She said, the cricket. I was like, I figured if the lady who's taking my money calls it a cricket, then I'm gonna call it cricket. Right.
But I got tired of paying prices for decals.
Yeah.
Like people are like, which, you know, if you make decals, I'm not knocking your prices or anything, but they were like, oh, that'll be $15. I'm like, oh, that seems like a lot for 2 stickers.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, I think I might get a cricket. So I think all I've made from it is I have a shirt that says Trapper Wolf is my wingman. You know, that's Dave Filoni's character from The Mandalorian. That's the only thing I've made with it. I've been a failure.
You could. Is it because you printed out the
I printed out half of his wolf symbol, and I printed out those words, and on an iron, I bought the iron-on. You can buy iron-on stickers, whatever, and I just ironed it onto a shirt.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize the cricket could do iron-ons as well.
It can do metal too. Because I'm gonna trying to see what metal stuff I can do for like badges and stuff like that. I can make a helmet stand, and then I can put a piece of metal in it, and it'll sculpt it. It'll cut the name into it. It'll etch So when I get around to getting all my helmets on helmet stands.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll probably have.
God knows I could do that too. I have one helmet stand that's actually helped me out from the animated clone that I got from you way back in the day.
Oh yeah, we have a new mold for that. It's like it's all smooth now.
It's in my old apartment, it like would sink under its own weight, so the face pressed in on itself. The visor wasn't doing enough to press outwards, so the face sunk in on itself. So I bought a metal paper towel holder, like cheapest one on like the $10 one on Amazon, and a foam ball, stuck it on top of that, and that's my helmet stand for that one. It's actually under its own weight. It has stretched itself back out to the way a clone helmet is supposed to look.
Well, so when it comes, we've learned new techniques to keep that from happening. Now we put an inside coat of this other material that keeps that from happening. They makes them because that was something I learned over the summer. We fixed that. But yeah, I use 4-inch PVC with a toilet cap on the bottom. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
that works for the droids because it kind of looks like a droid gasket.
Yeah,
right?
But it works for What's nice with the mask is you can fill it with pebbles, so your helmet won't tip over.
Oh, that's
you can just get bagged pebbles. You don't even have to take them out of the bag, and you put them inside the 4-inch pipe.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
And then it keeps them from knocking over. So that's all that's helmet talk. That's our new segment called Helmet Talk.
Helmet Talk. I need more. Well, I need more shelves, and then I can get more.
Yeah.
Helmets.
So, I mean, we have the Bad Batch. So, the Bad Batch is coming out May 4th.
I'm excited for that, and I'm excited that they're putting Fennec in there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
When I saw that they were having her as a character in that, I'm like, oh, all right, there's some cross-platform synergy that I'm actually interested in. Let's see some more of this character instead of just being another, Phasma badass to make merchandise of without having a fleshed out backstory.
Yeah, no, that's what we have to look forward to. And there's a lot of, like I like the Bad Batch arc in the new Clone Wars that came. It was all right, but
obviously it doesn't hold up to the final 4 episodes of that season.
Right, but I had seen. I
still cry when I watch that one.
Oh yeah. Well, did you see? You see, I made a helmet of that, right? I made the orange trooper helmet.
Yeah.
And then I put the reflection of Vader in the lens.
Oh, nice.
So it was just a scrap helmet I had sitting around. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see what I could get made. It was snowing. I was like, can I get this thing made in it took me maybe 4 hours to do it from scratch to end. and because I wanted to sit it out in the snow and take a picture. So,
yeah, I like those. But I'm excited for Bad Batch, especially because it looks like it's going to take place during the Empire.
Yeah, Order 66 is supposed. I think that's supposed to be part of the kickoff. Is like
they're like, I'm really interested to see them kind of deal with the fallout of like, oh man, we're not really the good guys and all this.
Right.
We're bad guys.
Yeah,
now.
Or do they have the chips in them? You know, like that's because they were made like they. If I understand correctly, they weren't like 99 where he was like a mistake. They were ones that were modified specifically for their talents.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I wonder if, like if that changed, like did they not get the chip in? Did the chip not? Because they didn't really fight with the Jedi either.
Yeah,
like
they were their own deal.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious how that goes. But that'll be something to look forward to. That's what we can build towards in the next. We can at least get a couple shows in before then.
Yeah. I am, for all it's worth, I am still looking forward to the eventual Ahsoka series, just because I want more Thrawn content.
Yeah. Well, and isn't there supposed to be a Rebels, a continuation of the Rebels, some way, shape, or form that they haven't really announced yet?
That I do not know. I haven't heard anything about that. I think we're in the same circles. If you had heard about it at some point, I could have seen that.
Yeah, but I think there was talk about that. I don't know if that made it past all the new stuff coming out. But yeah, the Ahsoka and the Thrawn. Like my prediction, if I had to make a prediction about all these shows, I think somehow they're going to culminate with something on Mandalore. Like I think there's going to either be there's going to be something that comes around on Mandalore, and it'll be like that big crossover, in the series.
I don't know. I still think Mandalorian season 3 is going to be more about. I don't think they're going to stretch it so far. I think their next deal is going to be dealing with Mandalore. Like the first half of the season is going to be setting up, like, all right, get all our parts together, figure out what we can, all the recon, and then the second half of the season is going to be all right, actually dealing with the problem of Mandalore. Maybe the first half of the season has 1 or 2 filler episodes in there where they have like some celebrity guest star.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm just saying, but I'm thinking the crossover. I think they're all going to have at least one crossover.
I don't think they are. I don't think they're gonna. I really don't.
But you don't think they're going to have to bring like I don't think Boba Fett is. Well, I don't know. Because I keep forgetting
asking for Boba Fett's help to deal with the Mandalore thing, but I can't imagine like whatever Thrawn's doing in wild space and where Ahsoka and they're trying to find like if they're trying to find Ezra, which that's kind of the direction I had seen. There are rumors about who they're casting. They might be casting the live action Aladdin as Ezra. Which
I don't. Yeah, I don't think her series is going to culminate in that. But I wonder if she's going to have a pass through episode in The Mandalorian.
I could imagine if they did a Passover crossover episode. I really don't think they're going to culminate together at some like Justice League style, everybody coming together to save Mandalore.
No. But I mean, I think The Mandalorian's going to culminate on Mandalore. But I think all those other series are going to touch and point in that direction. Either help them out, like get on that path, and then they'll keep going on their direction. Like. The other thing is we have which I always forget about, we have the Lando series.
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't realize. I kept forgetting about that one, too.
Because it was announced at a different time, I think. Or something.
Okay.
And, like, to me, I'm hoping, I said to Zoe, I hope it's like Billy D. Williams reminiscing, and then they use...
Oh, that would be interesting.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it starts with him talking to... the woman he found in The Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Like it could start with them, talking, and then it goes into, because what's nice about that is then you can put it in a whole bunch of different time periods. You could have Lando before he lost the Falcon. You could have Lando when he's,
Well, that's kind of the same way that his. Did you read the
Yeah.
Which one was it? It was Last Shot.
Yeah, Last Shot. Yep.
where it was something that he dealt with back in the day, but then he was also kind of, reared its ugly head in the future, so he had to kind of deal with it both as young and old Lando.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing, like, as maybe that's where even the idea came into my head subconsciously. Like, I was picturing, like, that would be a good way to have Lando, a Lando series, and get the best of both worlds. You know, get Billy D and get Glover.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be interesting. Be a little derivative. I'd have to stop and say, yeah, it's a little derivative of the book, but like also that is an intelligent way to go about it to make use of, you know, the living actors.
Right. And also then you don't have to have Billy D running around doing stuff he did 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then yeah. But so we'll have to have a more focused show next time. But this is our like welcome back show.
Hey, by the way, we're all still alive.
We're still alive.
We do hope you're all still alive, dear listeners.
Yes. And write into us either Facebook, probably Facebook's probably the easiest to see, but our emails, we'll put our emails on there. Emails sometimes, depending on what day of the week it is, my emails get buried with junk email. But yeah, and any topics people, you know, like I think we should get back to our. So what CRL we should agree on to do our little research on? What CRL you pick the first one? Give me a CRL.
The first one. Let's do. I'm looking around my room to try and Kaiser Soze what CRL we should do. You know what? I kind of want to look into this Tusken situation.
Okay.
Because there's a lot that I don't know about getting those robes looking right, what sort of bandoliers are acceptable, and I think that would be a fun conversation to have next week.
I think a Tusken. We could do a Tusken show. Tusken CRL.
I'll have the sound effect ready to just go.
We can talk about that ill-fated Tusken Jedi.
Yeah, right. What was his name? Something Het.
I don't know. I every time I see that one, I always remind myself. When people say that the what is it? The old books are so great.
The legends were so great.
Yeah, I'm like
Tusken Jedi.
You know, I mean, I liked the. Well, I'm not even going to talk Tusken because I have so many thoughts on Tuskens. I don't want to ruin our Tusken show.
Yeah, you're right. We'll save that for next time.
We'll do a totally Tusken show, yeah, because that'd be because I looked at those briefly when I was making Safi's, but I really didn't care because she was like 12 at the time.
Yeah, it wouldn't have.
So,
would have been overkill.
Yeah, well, we can do it CRLs. I'll look up some Tusken resources for people that want to make Tusken costumes.
Yeah,
I'm making I know some off the top of my head, and I'm shutting my mouth. Just shut up, Mike. It'll be on the next episode.
Yeah, right. We're just our preview of the next episode. I could just cut here and we could start recording the next episode.
It could be a very Tusken. You know how? Well, you're not old enough, but they used to have those. It's a very special, and then it'd be like a sitcom, like.
Oh no, I remember special episodes.
Like so, it'll be a very Tusken. Well, it's if we recorded on a Monday, we could have Tusken Tuesday.
Yeah, right. If I get my lazy butt through Pro Tools fast enough, yeah, we could have it edited and released on a Tuesday. Yeah, we could try.
But yeah, we could do. We'll do Tuskens. That's perfect.
Cool beans. And hopefully it'll be released by next year.
Yeah, well,
another 10 months, one episode every 10 months.
Okay, let's do a prediction. So we did. What did we do? Three shows in 2020.
Yeah, something like that. After that nice New Year's resolution you made about let's do one a month.
Yeah, well, you know, we did one a month that the country was open.
Yeah, you're right. We did one for the official months of the year.
So, yeah, but you know, I mean, if we'll get it down.
Yeah.
And again, if anyone wants to jump in and be with us, if you want to be a guest, you know, the guests we had on. That I surprised you that time.
Yeah,
my mind
way off guard with people who were actually qualified and who had things going on in their lives, and you're like, oh, this is Colin. He's some.
Well, no,
jerk.
they came on for like they had never done a podcast before, and so here I'm looking up their podcast because they just changed the name, and I want to make sure I get out
the
right.
Force is Behind now.
Is it really? Is it, wait a minute.
Yeah, it used to be Thank
the Maker, and so now it's what?
The Force is Behind.
Oh, okay. So the Force is Behind. If you get a chance to listen to theirs are good. They're getting pretty professional on theirs.
Yeah, right. They have like actual schedules where they release their podcasts.
Well, yeah, that's come on. Let's why are they not on my feed now? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, the Force is Behind. Yep. Yeah, because they have that picture of the Frank McQuarrie, 3PO, and R2.
Yeah.
So that's a good podcast to listen to. But those guys were on our show, and
That's right.
And I'm trying to think of any other Star Wars. Well, I listen to Steel Wars, and I listen to my daughter's Star Wars Geek Girl, which she didn't do that many over pandemic either. So I'm comparing myself to my teenage daughter, but. Rogue Rebels podcast is a good one. I'm trying to think of what other Star Wars ones I listen to regularly.
I think the last one I listened to was either Steel Wars or there was some where they a random one where they talked about they listed like every classification of ship. In Star Wars, which was a very.
I was going to say that sounds fun for about 10 minutes.
It certainly it got hard to picture the ships.
Yeah.
Because they'd like describe it, and I'm like, wait, is that this one or this one? And there were some that I knew like the names of, but then there were some that I'm just like, I had to like look it up while I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh, that, okay.
Yeah, my podcast listening went down a little bit over pandemic because I just wasn't driving.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like my favorite time to listen to podcasts. So we have episode 20 done.
Yep. Cut, print, send it to editing.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. My name's Mike Hinton. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and what's the other one? TikTok. So I have more followers on TikTok than I have on any of my other platforms. I have like 6,000 followers on TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know how, but
yeah,
it must be those skimpy outfits I wear.
Oh, I'm sure. Those very, very sensual dances that you do.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I'm sure that's exactly what's bringing in the followers.
Yeah.
And I'm Colin, and I only have a Facebook because I don't know. I just don't spend time on social media.
Yeah, I spend too much time. I don't know if I spend too much time on it, but it's like part of my job is I have to know what's out there, because if I start talking to my students and I say, "Oh, all you kids on MySpace better," then they're gonna be like, "What's like?" If you say Facebook to middle school students, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Hayden,
Facebook is definitely for the old people now." Like,
but even Instagram is starting to get old with them, and for some reason, no one goes on Twitter, but everyone has a Twitter account.
Yeah, right.
So, But
yep.
Anyhow, yeah. So we'll talk
Messages.
Tuskens. We'll talk Tuskens. I'm free for autographs if you have Star Wars Insider 200 and that half a sentence that says something about me. I'll gladly sign that for free.
Oh, for free? Come on, value yourself a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Okay, $1.
there you go.
And and then hopefully Colin and I will be trooping sometime soon, either in Gettysburg area or Lancaster area, or somewhere in Maryland, or maybe the next hockey game. Maybe a hockey game will be the next thing that comes up. Have you ever trooped the Penguins game?
Not Penguin. I've trooped the Bears game.
The Penguins game only I try to go to because occasionally Filoni goes to them.
Yeah, right.
So we did it last year right before the pandemic, and he wasn't there. So
yeah, he was probably busy working on Mandalorian.
And Mandalorian, right? Zoe had his wife on her show. Zoe had Dave Filoni's wife on her show a little while ago because she wrote one of the books, one of the stories in one of the Star Wars books.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, does she care about Star Wars, or is it a situation of she's forced
no she's I mean, I think if after talking to her, I think she has, you know, like she has influence. You can see influences in Star Wars because her last name is Convery. You know, so and she's into like mythology, and you know she's a fun person, and then she wrote the story about the witches. I forget what book it's in. It was in a book of short stories, and she did some of the witches.
Was it the first from a certain point of view, or from because they just released the second certain? Maybe it
was from the second point of view, because she did this interview with Zoe. I want to say this past fall. Oh. So whatever book came out around then, it was right around when the book came out.
Gotcha. Then it would probably be the second. I haven't read that. I didn't make it all the way through the first one.
Yeah, I think the first one I spot read it. Like stuff that I cared about, like I was like, oh, that's interesting, you know. But like the Dianoga and stuff, and a couple of the other ones, I thought they were interesting. But you know, I honestly, my favorite books, like that Afra book was one of my favorite. The Ahsoka book was good, and I don't know if I'm allowed to admit this or whatever, but the Padme book I thought was really, the Padme book to me made Phantom Menace even better.
I haven't read that one yet. It's on I have that one saved. I've seen good things about it.
Yeah, I just read it, and because I don't know why. I don't know if it was just sitting here. I was like, oh, that's, you know, and because I didn't think I'd like it, but it made a lot of Padme's character make more sense in Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. Like all the clothing changes and all those people. Like, because at first you're like, that's just kind of silly, and then when that book put it into context, and I don't know if that's what George Lucas was thinking, like if he had notes on why he did it and she based the book on that, or because I have a feeling that a lot of that book is based on why George did it, because George just is like a study of like history and stuff like that, but she fleshed it out even more, I think. So yeah, but that was a good one.
Yeah, it's on my list.
But Tusken Raiders next time.
We'll try and make it a Tusken Tuesday.
Yeah, I can do it. Weeknights. I'm good.
Tusken Thursday.
Yeah, or just Tusken Thursday. Tuskens don't care. Tusken Thursday anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah, classic Colin and Mike fashion. We say goodbye and then we talk another 20 minutes.
Oh, I know. Well, I think that's how my family is still.
We still got it.
Yeah. Yeah, people are like, wait a minute, I wanted to turn this off. But
tricked you.
Anyway, may the force be with you, Colin.
May the force be with you, Mike, and everybody else.